I have found my niche.
Nice.
I found my niche. Been doing a couple of podcast interviews with people, and I
Okay.
have been getting questions about relationships. My niche.
Mm-hmm.
How could how could I provide more value in that area for people? Uh, Read more books, listen to more people, or go off my own experiences, or all the above. LOL.
How can you provide more value as a relationship coach?
Yeah.
Well, one, you being in relationships, right? Like your own experience is always a great foundation. You can definitely learn and model. I'd just be concerned about, hey, if you're going to share something that you say, here's what somebody else did. It's definitely a model to just be the intermediary, where like it's not your opinion but somebody else's. But ultimately, it's going to be by actually helping people through it, like you going through things or you helping people through things.
Yeah. I think it's a relationship is a strange, it's a strange um I don't know the
Nah,
right word for it right now, but
it's the same as
like
anything else. Just pattern recognition. Just haven't gone through it enough.
this is why I say it's strange.
I'm
Would
gonna
you
back
take a
you.
okay? Let me do a cross compare. Would you take advice from someone who went bankrupt 3 times?
Well, it depends on what the
Business
advice
advice from
is.
some.
Oh well,
Say again.
business advice probably not.
Okay, so then would you take relationship advice from someone who's been divorced 3 times?
I
Uh,
mean, they would probably have a very unique perspective.
But eventually, aren't they going to lead you down to the same path that they've been down eventually?
Maybe.
So would you guys take? So that's what's in my relationship. I just find it so weird because who? Why would someone take advice to someone who's been twice or thrice divorced and it's like, oh, okay, that's good advice. I'm like, but in business, you wouldn't take advice to someone who's been bankrupt 3 times.
But have they done something else? Like have they gone bankrupt 3 times and then built a billion
Okay,
dollar
they're
company?
successful. They might be successful today, but they may or may not be successful today, but they've been bankrupt 3 times. So would you? I mean,
Well, if somebody has only had a history of terrible relationships and they hate their life, then sure, that's not somebody you want to take relationship advice from. If somebody's gone bankrupt and that's all they've done, then yes, you don't want to take business advice from them. A lot of successful people have gone bankrupt and then they've come back and built empires.
okay, so then you take advice from them, right? Because they learn from their mistakes. They can teach you the pitfall.
So it's the full context. Like,
Okay, okay, just interesting. Because there's some popular relationship quote unquote authors out there. I'm like, this guy already been, and it's like, but people still eat up his advice. I'm like, and she's been divorced 3 times or twice, and people still, make them best-selling authors. I'm like, wow, this is an interesting dynamic here. I would think you'll want advice from someone who's been successful at that thing.
but does it mean they haven't been successful at that thing? You're judging one thing in their past. Are they successful now in what they're doing? Can you learn from them now in what they're doing?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
Well, if no,
yeah.
like, are they in a happy relationship? Do they have something to teach you? And
Well, some and some not. Some and some are not.
so
I,
let
I,
that
I, I
let that filter your decision.
yeah. I know people that take advice from people who don't even have a relationship, and they're giving you advice, and they can't even keep a relationship together. I'm like, well, why would you listen to this person? Because they've already proven that they cannot make this work. So I just, like I said, I just find it strange because when it comes to relationships, it's like people listen to anybody that say anything. But when it comes to business, they're more logical about it.
I don't think so.
No, okay. Well, I just thought I'd throw it out there because I hear and see things. I'm like, wow, really, wow, okay. I'm like, okay. Fonda White says, oh, okay, and thank you, Evan, for mentioning me in your presentation.
Nice.
I really appreciate it. Thank you, Evan.
You got
And
it.
then L. Dame is speaking to Fonda White. He says, maybe also learning from others on legit coaches That way you can speed up the process and gain more reference or experiences through other people too. And then Fonda White says so true at Dane. You know what? Again, you guys can chime in if you want, but hey, Fonda White and Dane, what do you guys feel about people that give advice about relationships and they've been doing it for like 10 years, yet they can't make their own life work when it comes to relationships and love? What do you guys feel about that? Let me know. Like, is that cool? That's totally legit. It's like someone's telling you, again, if a person is homeless, how can he give me advice about buying a house? And again, maybe Evan might say I'm being too judgmental. I don't know. I know you don't have to always have results for everything, but some things do make sense. If you give a relationship advice and you've been doing this for 10 years, yet you can't find anyone or you can't keep anyone, I don't know. Something's not right with that.
Well, again, it's seeing where they're at now, and can you learn from it?
Okay.
Where are they now? Can you? I mean, last week you were talking about Dan Locke. Dan Locke, he failed at his first 11 or 13 businesses, something like that, when he came here. Came to Canada, failed. Would you listen to that guy? No. But after that, he's had a success.
Okay.
And now you're off praising him.
No, and I agree with you. Saying when it comes to business, it's been a lot of people make, false move, bad advice, and they lose money, and then they gain money. Business is always kind of, not always, but business can be a roller coaster. I get that. And people have success to show for it, and they have results to show for it. But when you look at relationships, men and women, I see giving advice, and they're not married, they can't keep a relationship together. They have, it's like, okay, you're talking about not 1 year, 2 years, you don't even have nobody right now. You're single with a dog. And you can't even, and you're giving out, I don't know, I just find it, maybe I find it inauthentic. I don't know. But people still listen to them. I'm like, are you kidding me? Just look at the results of their life. Not like 1 year, 2 years. I'm talking about 10 years. 10 years you've been giving this advice, and it's not even working for you.
But why are you studying this person and their 5 and 10 year history? Like, who cares? If it doesn't serve you, move on.
Well, I'm just kind of addressing.
I feel like your question, you're trying to get self-validation.
Who, me?
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with me. I'm just talking about the industry.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. But like, you have your own opinion and bias, and
I studied this industry, and I look at it for what it is, and I look at the people who've been in this industry for the last 10 years, or 15 years really, and I just see so much inconsistency. But maybe because of marketing or business savvy, they still position themselves as one of the top gurus, and nothing lines up, and people still listen to them.
But why spend your time researching them and looking at their 10 years history and looking? I mean, if they're not the fit for you, who cares?
No, it's not about a fit for me. I'm just saying, you look at the industry, you look at who's in the industry and who's doing X, Y, Z. So that's why the question is very general. It wasn't even about me. I mean, I got my own thing.
But listen, Zane, in any industry, there's people who will rip people off, and there's people who are doing great work in every business. Like, and
that's, like I said, that's why I just thought the whole relationship area is weird to me.
It's not just it's every area. It's every area. Why do people buy Bernie Madoff stuff? Like, there's every area. There's people who will rip people off.
Well, it's not even a rip off. It's a choice. Some people. It's not even people being calm. You can just look at the results.
I just spend zero time worrying about those people.
No, it was just a general question based on what he was saying here in the chat. That's all. It's not even about me personally. I'm good personally. I'm very good personally. But when I'm looking at the industry as a whole, I mean, I think if you're going to be in that industry, even if you're not in the industry, to be aware of what's going on and who's saying what, who's doing what. Not that you got to follow it, but just aware of it. Because if Fonda White's going to be in the industry, he should know who's the top, 20 people, male and female, who's in this industry.
Sure, but like the more we talk about it, the more I don't want to talk about it. Like this is all. It's just being consumed by negative. It's negativity. Like who cares? Just don't worry about them. If they're negative and they're ripping people off and they don't have the experience, like who cares about their track record?
Yeah. Okay.
It's like focus on you, focus on helping, focus on serving, focus on what you want to do. Focus on how fun it can go off and win.
Okay, let's see what he says. Okay, cool. See, I think it comes from within, meaning what or who you are inside can attract what and who you are if you're not loving in yourself. Usually you find yourself finding in people who don't love themselves. Maybe that's an answer. Maybe that's the answer to your questions. And El Dane says, I'm usually very critical when I take advice on relationships. Also look at who I resonate with. I usually wouldn't take dating advice with someone I just can't relate to. Okay, fair enough. Maybe I didn't explain my point good enough, but that's okay. That happens from time to time. That wasn't the path I was trying to go down. Well, I definitely appreciate it because it's been a huge blessing, and problems I have been through in my life, even dealing with non-romance relationship, so that's why it's a big purpose for me. And then Fonda White continues and says, that's why I found my one-word connection. Mm-hmm. If not connecting with someone, I feel out of place. And relationships been a huge deal for me. So I definitely want to inspire others in the relationship aspect. Been a lesson and a blessing for me in relationships. Actually tried to commit suicide. Wow. After a couple of bad relationships. So definitely a huge deal for me. And Africa would be so nice to go. LOL. Let's go.
Zan's already selling tickets.
Father, let's go, man. We got you, we got Evan, we got Drew, whoever else. Nina's gonna be there. I think Drew's wife will come, and we get some more people to come, and we could get a couple of South African speakers to hit the stage, be part of the summit. That'd be great.
After all, Zan is a big deal in South Africa. Don't forget.
Say again?
Zan's a big deal in South Africa.
Well, yeah. That'll be 3 countries coming together. We can call it the trilateral agreement.
What are the 3 countries?
Well, America, Canada, and South Africa.
Oh, I see. Okay.
He said, LL, I'm down to go. I know. Let's go, man. Enough talking. Let's get out of here. Let's go.